We're starting this thing up.
It's like trying to fade another photo in.
Yeah. That's weird.
That was an option in Chrome, and we had turned that on at some point.
In Chrome.
Yeah. That's what it's trying to show.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, look.
Background. Let's try that.
Look, there's the wine glass right there.
Yeah, so why is it trying to do that?
Because you need to disable backgrounds.
How do I do that?
I don't know.
Settings.
Green screen.
Green screen.
None. That's fine.
There we go. Okay, that fixes the technical difficulties we were having. So let's see what some of this chat is here. People have waved hello. Okay, so we're going to start. So thanks everyone for joining us.
Is this streaming to both?
This should be streaming both.
Okay. So
if you're watching this on Instagram, that's a separate stream. This is streaming to our Facebook and our YouTube. So actually, let me pull those up so I can check. So no one's viewing that at the moment, but details, that's what I want here. I want to turn the volume on this off so there's no repeat. So that should work there, so I can see the comments if they don't show up. And then I hope the Facebook integration works. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining. Reggie's off camera on the left. Say hello, Reggie.
Hey.
So we wanted to do a brief couple-minute Instagram Live and Facebook and YouTube Live to show you guys what we have up for SVFF. We're so sorry that we don't get to see everyone in person. This is one of our favorite events of the year, and we look forward to seeing everyone, as well as setting up and doing a new booth every year. So we're a little bit sad that we can't be there, but we totally understand. And so if you're just joining us, if you haven't checked out the event yet, SVFF has a page.
What does SVFF mean?
Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival has a special sort of virtual festival going on a system called EventNe. EventNe has, and I'm trying to look at both cameras at the same time, so I'm not like looking up the whole time. EventNe has classes, so you can sign up for classes on there, and it also has a bunch of vendors, so you can go to all the different vendor pages. We're one of the vendors you can find on there. You can also buy the event merch, all the t-shirts. There's also some old year merch up there as well. So if you haven't checked out the SVFF, the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival page on EventNe, you can go there. You can get it through their normal website. If you go to their Facebook page, there's a link to it. If you look through any of our posts, we have some links to it. So there's lots of ways you can find it. And later, when I make this, I can put a link in the chat later or the description below. So that's how you get to the EventNe page. So we have a page on there. And on that page, we have a whole bunch of specials. And so those specials, and I apologize to the Facebook and YouTube people following because I look and the quality is kind of low, but I'm sorry. So the specials that we have on there, let's start with talking about that. Reggie, what's the first special you want me to talk about?
Our chaos boxes.
So our chaos boxes. I know you all are familiar, or I hope most of you are familiar with our Schrodinger's bags. This year, we're not doing Schrodinger's bags. I'm sorry. I know you look forward to them. I think we have something better. Some of you may know about a year ago, we moved. We're still in Herndon. That's still our base of operations. But we upgraded our dye studio. And we found so much stuff that we had dyed in the process that we were test dyeing, that we dyed and then never actually processed out and labeled. Fiber, yarn, maybe some remainders of things that we've sold. The last skein of this, the last cone of that. So what we're planning on doing, and what we have posted, is we have these chaos boxes. We will be filling these with random stuff. You choose whether you want yarn or fiber, and you will get yarn or fiber plus some goodies and other things. Unlike the Schrodinger's boxes, I'm not going to be able to tell you anything of what's in there. Some of what may be in the box may be unlabeled. If it's been something that we were processing that we just never finished, there's not going to be a label. There's not going to be a tag. There's going to be no information. So it's a sort of...
We may add a note if we think we know what it is.
But you won't see our standard labeling system on these. So you're going to get some really cool deals in there, but you got to leave some stuff to chance. So that's the chaos boxes. What do you want me to talk about next?
So the one thing we can promise, there's no mohair in the chaos boxes.
Absolutely. There is no mohair in the chaos boxes.
But there could be silk, there could be yak, there could be merino, there could be any number of things in there.
Mm-hmm. There could be plastic fiber, there could be banana top.
Don't scare people like that. Hey, have you seen our t-shirts?
It features both of us in cartoon form on the front. Let's put that up so the YouTube and Facebook viewers can see it as well. And on the back, we have our logo. This is 100% cotton. It's a heathered gray. So if you like doing tie-dyeing, like we like doing tie-dyeing, you can tie-dye them yourself. Or we do have a small selection of tie-dye t-shirts that we did a little while ago, and there's some left. And here's a sample of one of the many patterns. What you order, you're not going to be able to choose your pattern. You're just going to choose tie-dye and
the
size. And then just going to randomly select from what we have.
So they all use a rainbow of colors like you see here. They just may be different patterns that are dyed in.
So we put that back off to the side. And if you've been to any of our shows in person in the last year or so, you may have noticed that we have our mugs.
It's 20 ounces of liquid, or holds 20 ounces of liquid, rather.
So you could, have coffee, tea, soup, adult beverage of your choice while you knit, spin, crochet, weave, whatever. It is microwavable. We do not recommend it being dishwashable because the logo is silk screened on and that can degrade in the dishwasher. So unless you want to end up with just a white mug, we recommend hand washing. Let's see, what else do you want me to feature?
The mini skeins.
Oh, the mini skeins. Let me show some of the mini skeins. So I'm randomly choosing some of these out of the bag that we have here sitting next to me. It's a whole bunch of different colors.
Got the label coming off.
You can fix that, could you?
Yeah.
Some different colors. You can't, again, these are random dip. You won't be able to choose your colors, but there is a photo online on the Eventney page. All the things I'm showing so far are only on the Eventney page. They're not on our website. So if you're looking for them, you have to go to the Eventney page. There are photos of some of the colors. I'm only showing you the ones I randomly grabbed out of the bag. They're 1 ounce minis. They are, let's see, about 96 yards. There are superwash merino. There are oven sport. There are sport weight. And they're great for pops of color in projects or for a toe and heel for socks.
Or buy a couple of them and just put them all in a single project.
So those are random. So you don't get to choose the colors. You will randomly choose colors out of the bag when we assign those.
What are those kits over there?
So we have a bunch of kits on our website, on our Eventney page, but I want to feature 2 of them. So the first is going to be our Dyad DK box, kit.
Sorry. I want to see the pretty colors on the backside.
This is a collab between us and Fully Spun. We had these at Vogue, so you may have seen them there. They come with 2 skeins of yarn, and in the Dyad kit, you get a choice of 4 patterns for the DK kit, and I believe the fingering kit, which is this one, comes with a choice of 5 patterns, I think.
No, they're both 4.
No, because they both have a wash as well. So these had 3 originally, and then we added 1 to each. That went to 4. Maybe I'm wrong. Each is 4, sorry. Each is 4 patterns. The choice of patterns are on the order page. So basically, if you want one of these, you go by color, and then when you go to choose it, you have to choose what pattern you want. The pattern is free. It is a printed pattern. Most of them include Ravelry download codes. Move this out of the way. So you can see they're in protectors. And if they have a Ravelry download code, let's grab one of those. It's behind foil, so no one can copy it from you until you get it. So you scratch that off, and then you can download it on Ravelry. There are 2 of them, but unfortunately don't have Ravelry download codes, and those are noted on the listings. I believe they are the Gingerbread House Hat and Cowl and the Chamois Cowl. All the rest of the pattern options listed on the listings do have Ravelry download codes and physical patterns. So there are a bunch of different colors of these. Let me tell you what yarns are in them. The DK kit features our Hopper DK and Fully Spun's original DK. And I think there's 5 colors of DK, no, 3 color sets of DK. And then the fingering kit, there are 5 color sets. I don't know if they're all still left. And that features our Franklin fingering and Fully Spun's sock fingering. So you get to try out 2 different yarns from 2 great dyers, both out of the Virginia area.
Yeah. And no matter what, you do get to choose a pattern, but obviously you can use these yarns in any project you want.
So the next thing I want to feature.
Wait, no, grab the, since we were talking about the Hopper DK, why don't you show off the cowl?
Oh, sure.
And talk about the Hopper DK.
So Hopper DK, we debuted this at the Vogue. So if you've worked with our Hopper fingering, it is a merino yak silk blend. This is slightly different formulation, and it's a more lofty woolen spun DK versus the fingering, which is a more worsted style. It's a little bit shinier. This you can see is sort of a little bit of a dull sheen, not in a bad way. And it's a silk merino yak blend. It is lovely. It is squishy. We love using it. And if you want it more than just what's in the kit, we actually just posted it on our website. So part of our huge website update that we did last night is Hopper DK is now available. Ross DK is now available. Einstein, which is our mohair blend, is now available. There is a ton of spinning fiber that we put up there.
What about those felting kits?
Oh, and the felting kits. So we have these felting kits that, Reggie, why don't you tell me more about the felting kits? Because I'm not the best at felting.
Sure. So these felting kits, they all feature animals. This one is Pippin the pig. And I don't know how well you can see the detail, but it looks very realistic. Inside the box is needles, needle felting foam, an armature, as well as all of the wool that you need to create the animal that's shown here. So if you don't have any needle felting equipment, you don't need to bring anything else to it. You can use just what's in the box. The one comment or the one recommendation I do have is if you've never needle felted before, there is an art to it. And if you get too aggressive, you can break the needles. So make sure you may need more needles than what comes in the box itself. If you're an avid needle felter, these are great. Like I said, you don't need to bring anything of your own supplies. Exactly what you need is inside the box itself. So this is Pippin. Spencer, why don't you show us the next one?
So while I'm doing that, there was a question that came in on the Instagram chat. Roche Collection says, I don't understand the difference between a woolen spun and a worsted spun. So let's show these off, and then I will answer that question in just a moment.
Okay.
So here is Lennon.
Lennon the llama. So again, just like with the Pippin kit, all of the kits we're showing now, there's going to be the felting foam, the needles, an armature. Armature is a wire that the wool is wrapped around and felted into. So these items actually stand up on their own. It's not just something that sits there like a stuffed animal. It actually stands on its own.
And then the last one that we're featuring.
So this is Hamish. He is a Highland, I believe it's pronounced Coo, a Highland cow. So a Highland cow is a long-haired cow. The cutest little thing. Hamish and Pippin are available both on our Event Me page as well as our actual website. Lennon is only available on our website. And we have, I believe, along with these 3, we have 14 other animals. There's a panda, there's a giraffe, there's a
set of
rabbit.
penguins.
There's a family of penguins there. All of these are amazingly detailed. I personally have never done a lot of felting, and I found the kit was pretty easy to follow. There's a booklet inside giving detailed instructions from start to finish.
Okay, so I just want to correct what I said before. It's Rochelle Cohen, not whatever I butchered of name, and I apologize. So the question was the difference between a woolen spun and a worsted spun. And this has to do with fiber prep as well as how the fiber is actually processed. And Reggie's going to step in if I make any mistakes here because he knows this.
Do you want me to just go through it real quick?
But you're not on camera, so I'm the one who actually has to say it.
Sure.
Okay, so basically it comes down to two aspects. One is how the fiber is prepared and how the fiber is processed.
That's the same thing.
Well, sort of. I mean, also what ends up in the end. So if you're doing a hand-spun woolen and a hand-spun worsted, a woolen spun is always going to be loftier and airier. So it's going to have more air trapped in it. So that's the way that I remember these things. A worsted spun is going to be very tightly spun. So if you think about like an Italian worsted suit, that is a worsted spun yarn. It's slick and it's got not a lot of air in it. It can be cool. Whereas if you think of like a fisherman's sweater, that's usually a woolen spun. The woolen spun, when you prepare it,
I like to think of these as being what people wear in the north versus what they wear in the south. If you live in the Northeast, if you live in New England, you're probably buying items that are made out of woolen spun yarns.
So if you're doing a hand process on this, to do a woolen spun, you would want your fibers not to all align in the same direction. You want them to be sort of mishmashed. You want to trap as much air. So usually people would prep that with either by making a hand-carded bat, they would card the fiber, or if you're doing a machine version of this, or a drum-carded fiber is another way to do it. Doing a machine version, so what would be done in a mill, you'd have these giant industrial bat machines that would create a
carder.
It would create a bat that is then sort of a web of fiber. That would then be drawn through and extruded or hand spun, and you end up with a fluffier fiber.
Hairier too.
Yeah. It is less strong, but it is warmer. Woolen, so that's woolen spun. Worsted spun, on the other hand, is a stronger fiber, but it is not as warm. It doesn't have as much temperature regulation because it doesn't have a lot of air trapped in it. For that, you want all of the fibers aligned as closely as possible to be in the same direction. So the hand version of that is you use hand cards. You may have seen hand combs. Sorry, you may have seen these at like historical recreations. They look a lot like a linen, a flax tooth hackle. Basically, it's super strong, super spiky points on a handle, and we have some, but I just don't have them around to show you at the moment. And you sort of drag that, you basically drag the fibers through them so you're aligning them in the same directions. Sylvia DeMar just noted woolen versus worsted, squishy versus stringy, which is a good way to remember it as well. So you comb your fibers. So just like combing your hair, you want everything to be aligned. If you brush your hair, it aligns it somewhat, but it sort of puts it, there's more space and it gets all sort of tangled a little bit.
So in a factory setting, when worsted is prepared, it's actually carded, just like in the woolen process, but after it's been carded into bats, it's then taken off and run through an additional machine, which does this combing process to align the fibers even more.
So the question has come back. So one has more bloom and the other has more sheen. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. It's also, one is more silky. That's going to be your worsted fiber, and your woolen fiber is going to be dull on a camera. You're not going to see a lot of light reflected off of it. It's a really interesting thing historically because a lot of the wool mills in the US were woolen mills. So if you ever tour any of the mills in the New England area, you'll see a lot of the like historical woolen production. It's really hard to find worsted mills in the US. We do have a friend who has a bin drafter, so we know at least one small mill that can do worsted, but it's actually really hard to find. There are people who make them. There are machines still made for it, and you can get them if you want to do your own milling for industrial size. As a hand process, they're both easy to get the equipment for, and you can do them yourself. Rochelle says she's very local to us. Well, once this whole pandemic ends, I'm sure we could meet up and do a spinning day when we can demonstrate. So let's see, that's woolen versus worsted. Richard, was there anything else you wanted me to talk about? There's a couple things I want to talk about on the update.
Sure. Well, if you're continuing to talk about it, I just wanted to point out we do have both. We recommend people go to both Event.me as well as our website, and we apologize that it's a little confusing, but since we're trying to participate and be part of the overall show, it required us to post some of our stuff to the Event.me system.
Yeah. So if you're just joining us late, part of what we're talking about is our Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival, our SVFF virtual show. What we're doing for that. So that's on their page, which is Event.me, which is the event page, and we have a vendor page there, which has a selection of limited items, some of our special editions, some of the things that we're featuring there that are not on our website. There are a few things that are doubled on our website and there. And then in addition, we pushed out a huge update last night on our website. I mentioned earlier that we now have Hopper DK up on there. We have our Ross DK, which some of you may have seen before, which is a bison silk blend. It is one of my favorite things, but it's a limited run collection for us. So when we run out, we run out. If you haven't worked with bison, it is scratchy to the touch when you first start working with it. So you do need to, if you want it to be soft, you need to beat it up a lot. And you can do that by actually machine washing it with jeans on a cool wash. Don't dry it, but you want to actually beat it up. It's not going to melt. It's sort of like working a little bit like with linen or cotton. The more you beat it up over time, the softer it gets. We do recommend after that initial sort of set, sort of like acid washing jeans, you're going to want to treat it delicately after that because you don't want it to degrade further. But it is a hard wearing fiber and it will last for a long time. So that's our Ross DK. Our other fiber we posted up there is our Einstein. Einstein is our mohair nylon blend, which is a great option for pops of color, for holding double, from creating a knit or woven or even crocheted airy top kind of feel with it. I talked about the needle felting kits, and there is one thing that I really need to feature. We just started today a pre-orders for a new t-shirt. So if you notice, I'm wearing my T. Spencer t-shirt. This was not available to the public. It was a limited run just for staff. But we are featuring our first of our animal friends, our fibrous friends, Professor Aries, who's one of our best-selling pins. So the original Professor Aries coloring and artwork is going on a green t-shirt. They'll be holding a green skin of yarn and a green test tube. Pre-orders for that will run through October. And after that, we will cut off pre-orders. We may order a little bit extra. So we'll have some of those on hand afterwards. But if you want one, we recommend ordering pre-order. There's a couple other comments that came in. Rochelle thanked us for our answering our questions. She said it would be a matter of figuring out which texture is suited for which type of project. Yes, so Rochelle, if you're doing something that is going to be a hard-wearing wool, you're going to want to go with something that is probably worsted. That is sort of a hesitance on that in my part, because some people do like fisherman sweaters, and those are actually woolen spun, but sometimes they'll keep the lanolin in. So there are reasons to do one or the other. Basically, you choose woolen or worsted based off of what you want in the end and what you want the hand to feel like and what it's going to be used for, like a rug.
Or how snobby you are.
Yeah, I like woolen.
I like worsted.
So, so that's a little bit of that. So let's see. There were some other questions that came in. Sylvia, yes, we would love to get together with you as well once the world is back to normal, or we can be in the same space again. Carter, you asked, where do you recommend buying fiber? So we sell fiber. It's one of the things we sell on our website. We sell hand-dyed fiber as well as some mill-curated, spec blended for us and spec dyed for us fiber. There are lots of other indie dyers, if you go to the Event Me page, that have...
Maybe tell them what our website is.
Oh, sorry. Our website is thefiberists.com. Sorry, I'm so used to people knowing. And I will type this as a response as well. So if you're looking in either, I'm putting that in the chat, not in Instagram, sorry, but on Facebook and YouTube, that's going up in the chat.
And we do have our special Chaos fiber box that's available through EventMe.
If you look through the stuff that we have and you want something different, there's a lot of other vendors on the Shenandoah Valley Fiberists, I can't speak, Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival, I'm tongue-tied today, website. I'm putting that, I will put a link to that in the chat as well, if I can manage to pull that up while talking. One of the things I would recommend is if you're like working with fibers, you can also get some fleeces and you can process fleece yourself. You can look at other farms in your area. There's some fleece vendors groups on Facebook. Give me 1 second. I'm pulling up the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival website, so I can put that in the chat. And that has a link to their EventMe page. So, do we carry long cut fiber? So I'm not quite sure. I assume you mean long staple fiber. So we have a bunch of different fibers. One of the things we actually...
But all the fiber we carry is processed. We don't carry locks. That's something we haven't carried for a while because we prefer, for some things like that, we prefer sending people to the farmers themselves.
Yes. We do carry a range of wool and animal and vegetable fibers. We just featured up in this update that we put up on our website, our Linnaeus top, which is our flax. That is mill-dyed and curated. It is not line and it is not tow. It is a medium length. What did you say it was?
About 5 to 7 inches.
So for those who don't know flax, you may be familiar with linen. Flax is a plant. Basically, the structure of the plant itself, the bast fibers in the plant is what you spin. So there's a long process to take the plant that grows in the yard to the fiber that you actually work with. Once you actually spin that, the action of it spinning turns it into linen. So it's kind of, a lot of people call it a magical fiber because when it's in your hand, it's one thing, but when it's on your wheel or on your drop spindle, it's something else. And there's usually 2 types of flax. There's tow, which is sort of the broken off cutting short bits, and then there's line, which is really long and it should be the whole length of the plant. Flax is a really strong fiber, so if you're using line, you want to be very careful that you, if you need to break it, you cut it with a scissor because it will cut into your hand and it would cut to the bone. What we sell is a top, and so it has been machined down and milled to be, as Reggie said, 5 to 7 inches long. So it is somewhere in between those two. We also sell some silk. Silk is a super long fiber. Depending on how it's processed, we have some, I believe, on our website. There's some hankies and other items that are less processed. There may be some silk tops still. I know there's some silk top. Depending on how they process the top, it could be completely reeled from a single cocoon, which means then you don't have individual fibers. You have one very, very long fiber. Think of it sort of like dental floss. It will cut your hands. It's like linen like that. You want to make sure you cut silk and not try to rip silk.
When it's one long continuous piece, it's called filament.
So Reggie just said it's filament. So when you have reeled silk, usually they will reel multiple filaments together to make the thickness. And sometimes that'll just be straight as sewing thread or as weaving yarn or knitting yarn. They'll sometimes also take that and then make top out of it, which is a lot of what we carry in silk. We also have silk blended in a lot of our fibers. So that's sort of an intro into some of the things. Some of the other fibers we posted were some BFL nylon blends, some BFL blends. BFL is Blueface Leicester. Blueface Leicester is a British breed. I do believe it's also raised in the U.S. It's considered a heritage breed, though it is quite common for hand spinners. It's a great beginner intro fiber. It's also good for intermediates and advanced, but it's one of those easy fibers to learn on. We do have 2 breed-specific fibers that we posted to our shop update, Manx Lofton and Swarpless. I know that sounds like I'm speaking weirdness, but Manx Lofton is a British breed. It's from the Isle of Man. It is a brown, naturally brown fiber, and it is a rare breed.
Tannish brown.
It's a tannish,
reddish,
fawny, I guess,
yeah.
Fawny brown. I don't know all of the different names for the fiber colors that they're out there, and there's a million. There's I think like 60, maybe 30 names. I'm sure other people know them better than I do. And then Swartless is a Dutch fiber. Did we decide? It's European, but it's also a rare heritage breed. It is a very, very dark brown bordering on black natural fiber.
Very kinky.
They're both very rustic, is a good way to put it. They're not super soft. But as far as rougher fibers go, they are on the finer side. They do make a nice yarn when you spin with them. If you want to blend them with something to soften them up or to add another texture or element to them, they're great things to work with. We usually feature the standard merino and other fibers, but we wanted to give people some options on some other breeds that are out there. So that's some of those things. Or did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining. We do have a Zoom link on our Eventney page, and let me actually copy that into the chat, the Eventney page.
That's on the slide.
I know. Our posted office hours for our Zoom runs till 5 today, but it also runs tomorrow from 10 to 5. So the Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival runs today and tomorrow. The website is up all day, all night. So even though our Zoom hours will be over in the next couple minutes, we will be around tomorrow, and you can still shop tonight. You can shop on our website. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If there's things you're looking for that you don't see on our website, that you've seen in person with us before, shoot us a message, have a Zoom chat. We may have it here and it just didn't end up listed, or maybe out of stock, or we may just have the product, but we haven't actually manufactured it into a final form yet. So if there's something you're looking for, give us a shout. Thanks everyone for tuned in for the live, and we will talk to you all later. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bye. I think you can let it run for just a minute.